Welcome everyone to the 2013 RHA Presidential Debates. Debates will follow a pretty simple format. We'll have 5-minute opening statements from both sides, and then for each question, each side will have 3 minutes to give a response, and then 1 minute rebuttal. And then the order will reverse for each question. And then based on how much time this takes, we will have a number of questions from the audience, and then 5-minute closing statements in reverse order of the opening statements. Earlier we had a coin toss, and Anthony has won, and so we're gonna get the debate going.
Make sure this is on and down. Otherwise, I can just talk really loudly, I suppose. All right. Can you hear? Yes? All right. My name is Anthony Hinkle. Commonly known as Tony.
I'm Jimmy Hammer.
We are running for president, vice president, on the platform of wanting to bring the issues more into the light for the residents of Green Bay. That's basically the primary focus of our platform is programming and making sure students on campus are aware of the things that our campus is facing. We want them to know the topics, the issues, so that if they have some sort of investment in a particular topic, either because they were involved in it in high school or it's something they personally care deeply about, they'll be able to come to us and we can help redirect them to the resources that will help them to, what is the word I'm looking for? To inflict the change that they want. We want to basically send them up the ladder or around campus, wherever they need to be. We'll get into that a little bit more when we're given the discussion topics, so get into a little bit more specifics of that later. However, as I see RHA, it is primarily a programming body meant to inform the residents of the things that are happening around campus. Do you have anything to say to that note?
You said perfectly. I think you nailed it.
All right. Then we'll pass it off to you two. I know that wasn't 5 minutes, but
Ours isn't either, it's okay.
Just to let you guys know too, if like for the opening statements or like a minute before, you guys have to stop or like do some sort of hand gesture.
Break the news. Robot it.
Yeah.
I'm Sammy Salzo. And I'm Nicole Usual.
Our public statement addresses that we, as President and Vice President of the Residential Hall and Apartment Association, want to improve the unity of campus involvement with our sub-organizations through communications and programming. At the same time, we do not want to stop addressing housing policy issues and concerns that are brought to us. For clarification, our definition of housing policy is the rules in which we live by. In the housing contract, there are certain rules and regulations that we are not as students supposed to violate. By sticking to these beliefs and ideals, we can make living on campus at the University of Wisconsin Green Bay every student's home sweet home. Thank you.
Okay, and for the first question, Anthony is first, and 3 minutes. How does your experience in RHA and other organizations and the life events you have experienced set you apart from the other candidate and qualify you for an RHA leadership position?
all right. Well, Jimmy and I have both been on campus for 4 years. He can go into detail about some of his involvements. For myself, as a freshman, I was a building rep for my building and attended RHA consistently, almost every week if I remember correctly. Sophomore year, I was not a building rep, however, I was still at RHA, making sure I was informed of what is happening, and I would often volunteer my time to help out with any programs. As a junior, and this year, I am a resident assistant in the traditional apartments, which I think helps with the platform Jimmy and I are running on, which is the idea of programming. The traditional apartments, instead of focusing on smaller individual programs, often look at large-scale programs, collaborating with either other groups on campus or just the other staff. Basically, we work with people to get our point across, to get our message out. And that's something that I wanted to do with RHAA. And my experience there, I believe it's going to be very transferable. I'll let Jimmy speak to some of his connections, because I know he has a lot.
It all started with a little thing I like to call community council in Troy, and just kind of spiraled out of control from there. I'm involved with Peer County Review Board. I was an aerobics instructor. Me and Tony have had the opportunity and the privilege to be an RA, meet a lot of great people, have an impact on a lot of freshmen''s lives, and learn just kind of the struggles, challenges, and adversities they go through. And I think that's going to help us on our platform. Apart from that, I have helped and volunteered with Boy Scouts of America and work at DigiCopy. I'm always pushing my cart around. You guys probably see me in the hallways. I go into staff and faculty. I know a lot of areas, health and counseling, the CRES, and other places that can really have an impact, positive, on these students' lives. That's really all I had to say. I just really love the human connection and knowing everyone. Hopefully that's good.
All right. Same question to you.
Okay. I've been involved in RHA since my freshman year. My first year, I was the Robert Warden building rep. Last year, I was the representative development director on the executive board. And now I serve as the National Wisconsin's communications coordinator. So it's really, really exciting. I have an idea of why representatives stay involved in RHA and why they're actually excited to come each week, because I both was a rep and also in charge of reps. So I have a really good understanding and personal connection. They make that connection with the executive board, and then it starts to feel like home. They feel that their voice is heard in issues, even as small as a tiny legislation piece or a program for a bill, like a bill for a program. Especially with my NCC WCC position I have right now, I have an idea of what other campuses' structures and those connections of like how they work with other organizations on campus and programming and things like that. And I've made those connections for future questions and ideas. I'm also very well versed in parliamentary procedure. I love Parley. I get really, really excited whenever anybody uses it. And I've also co-written numerous successful legislation pieces this past year in RHA. I have shown dedication to this organization intensely for 3 years, and I do not plan to stop.
So I'm kind of the newbie because this is my second year living on campus. But my first year I was involved as the Hardin rep. Even though I wasn't able to make it most of the meetings, I still held office hours, I still went to programs, and I think that's really great for representatives who can't make it to most meetings or have some conflict with night classes like I did. I can tell them, there are certain ways that you can get involved besides just being in the back and saying, I have night class, I can't do it. There's still ways you can do it. You can still go to your programs, you can still hold office hours, you can still help out, which is what I did, and that really got me passionate about RHA in the first place. From there, this year I'm the Business and Fundraising Director, and I have become really passionate about living on campus. Living on campus is a big thing for me. People need to feel safe and comfortable here. They live here for, 9 months out of the year. They should feel that way. I feel they should also be happy and comfortable. We should be able to have programs, good policies, and I think that this year more than ever I've really learned about this and I've really become involved in this, and I'd only like to expand from there.
All right, and now 1 minute rebuttal.
Because the topic of past executive positions came up, I am currently an executive member of Sigma Tau Delta, which is the English Honor Society here on campus. Basically what my position is there is to create the publicity for a lot of the programs we do, the movie nights, things like that we put on. Next year I will be treasurer for that same organization. So you guys mentioned a little bit of exec experience. I thought I'd throw mine out there as well. You have?
May have mentioned CC before. I was vice president on that. It's kind of like a little appetizer, I like to think, to build up of RHA. And then I've just been working with students in Healthy Choices Task Force and different positions where I think I have the experience, it just might be a little more diverse.
And 1 minute rebuttal.
You want to go ahead first?
Sure. Okay, that was just my residence life experience. I have tons of other experience out there. Student ambassador. I have just been recently invited to join the Sigma Tau Delta English Honor Society, and I was, as of February, inducted into the National Residence Hall Honorary. So I am very, very well versed in lots of different aspects of campus life.
So may I just say that I love that we're all really experienced. Because I am a Future Phoenix Fellow with the Future Phoenix program here in Green Bay. I am also a general member of NRHH as of this February. I mean, yeah, I think that's, and the executive board position, so yeah.
All right, and so the next question goes to Samantha. You have 3 minutes. How does your ticket plan to structure RHA to maximize its effectiveness serving residential students? Give specific examples of standing committees and changes for those committees. What would you keep the same and what would you change?
Alrighty, Nicole and I put a lot of thought into how we are going to structure RHA for next year. The 3 committees we came up with are visibility, safety and security, and sustainability. The vice president, we do not have one this year, but as Nicole gets it, she will be in charge of following up with all these chairs of those committees, and we'll also want the chairs to create detailed monthly reports along with their monthly meeting. For the programming aspect of RHA, since it is also very important, the leadership development and the 3 committees will all be doing programs related events to their committee topics. The only difference is those programs will be connected to their chair values. As far as larger programs, such as the Fall Formal and the Luau, we would like to see more collaboration with other of the sub-organizations on campus, such as CAB and community councils. That way more people can be involved, leadership experience gained, and overall a more successful program. Not to mention these smaller organizations will be better promoted at these events. For these larger programs and the outreach efforts, this will be a collaborative effort done by the entire RHA Exec Board. Each executive member position has a necessary focus area that they can bring to planning these programs. For example, presidential communication between all of these organizations, financial inquiries by the Bus and Funds Director, Business and Funding, along with program recruitment by leadership development. And that's how we plan to utilize all these positions.
Could you first please repeat the question?
The question is, how does your ticket plan to structure RHA to maximize its effectiveness serving residential students? Give specific examples of standing committees and changes for those committees. What would you keep the same and what would you change?
I actually very much agree with what the other side has said. A large focus of RHA should be around programming. And what I would like to see is an actual programming chair, committee, everything that is focused around getting these programs and these ideas that the other chairs or the other exec members may have. As she said, each exec member, each chair has its own special interest, and I would like to see things such as diversity, maybe purely programming, things for safety and security, a lot of the things that already exist, but I want to see them expanding. I want to see them getting out to the residents. I feel like I'm echoing a lot of what you said because it's good ideas. What I want is for the programmer to be working with these chairs, and those chairs to be putting out programs very particular to their topic. Do you have something to say on this?
We've all seen the statistics. People who live on campus are doing better academically. They're getting more involved. And I just see this as an opportunity of involving those students. People can't take an opportunity unless the opportunity exists. And I agree with your structure where we're really helping kids to find their niche and really having a set plan and a goal for where we're going. and I think that will hold us accountable.
So one more thing out there if I have time. One of the other big things I wanted to do with RHA's programming is getting back to some of the more traditional things that have happened. During my freshman, sophomore year, there were a lot of traditional programs. The fall formal, they had a winter ball that was a charity ball where they would actually sell tickets and all the donations would go out. And those are things that I've seen not happen in the last few years. I believe that a community outreach type chair would also be something that RHA could benefit from greatly because it's something that incoming freshmen would want. They want to know how they can volunteer, how they can help, how they can do things both on campus and off. So really, it would come down to talking to the students to figure out what they want and what they need for a chair, for a committee, and then getting them a place to go.
Okay, you want me to rebuttal?
I would agree. I agree that programming is a big part, which is why we would involve our other organizations more, such as CAB and the community councils. RHA as a whole, as the membership itself, I believe that we could definitely do more from our community councils and other CAB, NRHH, everything as a whole could just do more programs, so we could definitely get more involved with that.
I thought of a lot of different ideas that would help us get involved and get those smaller programs with the community councils and CAB that could go on for a lot longer than 1 minute, so I won't really get into it. But the main thing is we just want those smaller sub-organizations we heard like have problems retaining membership to help us with these large programs, so that way they'll get their names out there, people will get a lot more interested. So just overall promote RHA, but not only RHA, those small involvements.
Yeah, 1 minute rebuttal.
Right, I'm going to do one thing and then Jimmy has something to say, but I want to say very quickly, one of the big ways I would hope to expose RHA out to other people would be to get exec members going to the community councils, the CAB, things like that, get their faces out into the community. That's my 20 seconds, and you can give Jimmy the rest.
What I lack in my programming skills, where I'm more centered around smaller, maybe community-based programs, Tony, I think, makes up for his program experience as in a bigger community where he really knows how to outreach and talk to different needs and different diversity backgrounds.
And a 3-minute question to Anthony. How visible do you feel that RHA is on campus? If very visible, justify this claim and tell us how you expect to maintain this presence. If not very visible, justify this claim and tell us what you intend to do to improve this condition.
I believe that RHA is visible on campus. It is a known entity right now, but it's not as well known as it used to be. I've been here for a long time. I've seen RHA performing extremely well, and every administration is subject to the enthusiasm or lack thereof of the students at the school. So I can't say anything against previous exec boards. But at the same time, I've seen the drop off in enthusiasm. And what I would hope to do is, with the programming getting back to traditional programs that we know RHA is, that we know has worked for RHA in the past, or that they've put on, I would very much like to get back to those, because those are often large-scale things that students can get excited about. We do casino night, I know, for the freshmen at the beginning of the year, and that usually has a fantastic turnout from what I'm aware of. The fall formal, all sorts of things that are usually put on. I want to expand on those, do some other things as well. And then support RA programs, support community council, support CAB programs. Have our exec members there so that they can say, this is fantastic, we support what you guys are doing, please come help us, support us. Even if you are already a CAB exec member, if you have a friend, send them over to be a rep for us, because we love to hear what you're doing, and we want to help you do it better, make it bigger. We can promote, RHA has the power to promote those smaller programs, and we would love to do it for CAB, for CC, and that I think would bring about visibility, the exposure of RHAA for the future.
I would agree that RHA has lost visibility. This is one of the reasons why we had created a visibility chair for the next year exec board. A few of the things that we had in mind for this chair would be that we would like to attempt to hold monthly meetings for all of residence life, anybody living on campus. Just one big general meeting where people can come and express their concerns, they can ask questions. We may also have a theme going on for that night, such as a certain policy or concern that's happening on that campus. We would also like to have suggestion boxes themed monthly. 1 month we would try and base it on, for example, programming, express your concerns and questions about programming, express your questions and concerns about something that's going on in residence life as a whole, where you're living. We'd like to just probably reach out more to our residents, as they're a huge part of this. We know that we can talk to residents, we can talk to the residential assistants, see what they have to say, see who they have to suggest for leadership development roles and representing. And overall, we just like to get out there more.
The main thing with RHAA is we promote a lot in the beginning of the year, and that's because all the little leaders are finding themselves on this campus, so we grab them while they're new and don't know what they should be doing. But we'd like to really continue that throughout the year. More like executive board, as Tony mentioned, attending the general meetings, a lot more con covers, not just in September, posters, getting our name out there and staying out there, that retention. We also want to plan more general retreats. Our leadership development director is in charge of that. She put on a really great one this past year. And focus on communication more so with the Facebook, Green Bay website, the Twitter, and working with the resident assistants and representatives for buildings, and personally reaching out, not expecting them to do that extra work because they do so much already.
I agree that representative retention is something that that RHA has struggled with over the last few years, and I believe that even meetings and things like that are something that could be even made more enjoyable than they maybe are now. Things just a little activity at the beginning, showing that RHA is a place that can be fun, that can be, not that it isn't now, I'm sorry, it sounded bad. But, again, my freshman year, there was an icebreaker, there was something little and fun before every meeting. And that's something that isn't happening anymore, and I kind of wonder why. I would love to see that come back, so that the people are coming to RHAA not because they feel obligated to as a rep, but because they feel like they have friendship there, they have a community there that they can come to.
Yeah, I just want to clarify, since it was the kind of RHA match. I know what you mean. But we want RHA meetings to be fun. We want to continue that with the icebreakers, the random questions. We had the random guess who, two truths and a lie for executive boards. But at the same time, we want meetings to be fun and happy, but we also don't want them to be long. When we did, this past week, we had 4 bills. Then actually a couple more. We had 2 we voted on, and then 4 presented. Was that correct? 3 presented. So when meetings like that happen, we want to get to the point, but we want to also promote that fun. Like 2 weeks ago, we had someone move to Groove, literally, Parley Pro. Moved to Groove, and that just meant a little dance party at the end. So.
And if we can have more fun meetings and build those meaningful relationships, our reps will want to come and they will want to stay and engage with leadership.
All right, and next question goes to you. 3 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Is it?
Okay. 3 minutes. How do you plan on getting the residential student population more engaged with campus life in general and RHAA in particular? Tell us what you would do to keep students active and engaged for all their college years.
This again will go back to our RHA structure that we had planned. We definitely want to work on getting RHA as a whole out there, gaining more leaders, having people, come out, gain that leadership, get that resume. I mean, for me, as an example, I did not come here with the intentions to get involved in campus leadership, but I can honestly say I'm glad I did. I have gained so much on not only a personal level, but I mean an intellectual level and academic level, everything you can imagine. I have gained it, and it has helped me in real life as well. I can go to a job interview and feel more confident in myself. So if we can get that oh my goodness, sorry. If we can get that visibility out there and gain those new leaders, then they'll feel that same way. This as well will go with the programming. If we can, have more programs, something more fun, get more people involved on campus, then they'll see that RHA and the other smaller organizations such as CAB and community councils and the residents' assistants, that it's really something fun and it's important for them to get involved in our campus.
I think we've said in this previous debate of most of our discussion points when it comes to campus engagement, that programming aspect where we involve all of residents' life with the NRHH, the CAB, the community councils, going to them personally, not just being a name, but putting a name with a face is the best thing RHA can do to get that campus engagement.
3 minutes, same question.
I honestly believe it's more of an issue of quality over quantity. They mentioned that they didn't want the meetings to go too long, but at the same time, people want to be there. It's not so much as a Band-Aid as people are going to want to be at RHA. It's going to be a thing happening and involving them in everything we're doing. I know a few people, and those few people know a few people, and I think it's really a team effort with all the organizations and all of the areas of school and academic life to involve people. If we work together, instead of just everyone advertising themselves, I think we can really reach more ears, and with that, maybe more people will come. And if we reach one person that we weren't reaching before, that's a win to me. And Tony, if you had anything to add.
He told me, he looked at me and he said, I got this, and he basically said what I wanted to say about meeting length. It is nice to have it run 45 minutes. At the same time, if things need to get done, things need to be done. What I wanted to say as far as keeping people around for 4 years, I think one of the big things we can do is find students who don't know that they want to be leaders. I'll be completely honest, when I came here, I didn't know I wanted to be a leader. I didn't know I wanted to really do anything in college other than read books and eventually teach one day. But I found first community or building council, and then I actually did not get our community council rep for RHA, but I represented our building. From there, it just expanded. I strived for an RA position. I strived for several other things over the years. It took me 2 tries to get to the RA position, but I wanted it. Coming in, I didn't know that. And those are the students we have to find. The ones who are interested in things are going to find us anyways. They're going to find the special interest groups. RHA can help point them in the right direction. But we can also reach out to the people who don't know it yet. And that's another thing I would want to do. Right, I got the wave, so step back.
You have 1 minute rebuttal.
I just want to clarify, I'm not saying that meetings should be all business and it should go as long as it needs to go to get done and there should be absolutely no fun involved. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to be equal. You can have that fun opportunity at the meetings and then you can have the ones that are a little more structured, but if you don't do that every single time, then the reps have a different environment to come to every meeting. And that element of it's going to be different every meeting, it's not going to be the same thing, might actually help us retain more members, and then they'll look forward to what next meeting can hold. As well as the visibility, I cannot stress enough how important it is to put the name with the face. I know I joined RHA with the building rep position because my RA emailed me saying, hey, you were on the org smorg list. Would you be our building rep? I'm like, oh my gosh, my RA knows who I am. So I think it would be really great if we did that as an organization, made that personal connection right away and continuously.
And 1 minute rebuttal.
I don't want to stay stuck on the idea of meeting length for too long, but and I understand the value of parliamentary procedure. I know people can get bored with it. I've sat in meetings before where I'm like, why is this taking so long? But you're right, being able to mix it up is something that we should be able to do. And as a president, vice president, executive board, we should also be able to read a room and say, okay, students are getting kind of tired of talking about this. Is there any way we can wrap it up? Things like that. So, not saying, I'd be perfect at that, and I'm not saying that we would lack that ability, but I'm saying that that's something that maybe whoever gets the position could look into, being able to read their group.
All right. Just to be clear, I'd like to reiterate that when we signal you, you still have 1 minute left.
Okay.
All right. So then, to you, on the next question for 3 minutes. What kind of improvements, if any, do you think need to be made to hear and respond to safety concerns in the residents' community? Give examples of specific improvements you would work towards, such as fire safety, parking lot surveillance, winter weather hazards, etc.
Having been here for 4 years, I know things about living in Red Hills, living in Travis, living wherever on campus that early residents don't necessarily know. And I believe what's necessary is for a trickle-down effect to occur. I have knowledge, I can encourage a program that passes on that knowledge, or I can run a program that passes on that knowledge to the reps. The reps can do that, can talk to their building. That's what we encourage them to do. Ideally, a rep would be a focal point of a building so that they can just say to people, these sorts of things happen. Green Bay is a relatively safe campus. We're very fortunate for that. But there are some concerns that do come up. Things like feeling unsafe out at night in parking lots or anything like that. There's common knowledge stuff that we think is common knowledge, but it isn't until you're told it. Going out with a partner, going out with, or telling people where you're going to be. And really, I would encourage either programming or helping RAs find the focal point of their building. As an RA, I know that can be hard to do. As RAs, we like to think that we can talk to anybody. It's not always true. But we can talk to residents who are influential, give them the information, and then hopefully that resident will then be responsible enough to pass that on to their friends. Jimmy's tapping my foot. I couldn't let him in here.
I think it's very easy to say we can let kids know about the winter weather alerts and public safety and safe walks when they're feeling sad or scared or nervous. Because if someone's not feeling safe, their grades are going to fall. Their relationships with other people are going to fall. And I really think another big thing, Tony, I know is getting to, the diversity and people who are nervous about just who they are, members of the LGBTQ community, and people who just, because of maybe where they are in life, or maybe they have a bad home life, RHA can be like a safe environment for them. It can show them that there's friends and there's people who care about them, and it can help either create a safer school environment for them to live in, make this their new home. Thanks.
And 3 minutes to you, same question.
Okay. I will agree. I believe that, the gender inclusivity is a huge issue. We are currently working on that as it's known. However, if for some reason it didn't pass, safety is a huge part of living on campus, and if somebody feels unsafe living in a room or apartment or a res hall, we will definitely continue pursuing this. Hopefully it will pass this year. If not, it is something we will definitely continue with next year. Also, I think it's really important that people understand that public safety is not just a group of ticket givers and party crashers. They are there for you to walk you home if you need to. They are there for you if you feel unsafe in a parking lot or your car needs to be jumped or for any reason, even if you feel unsafe in your own building, there's always somebody you can call. And I think it's really important that we continue telling people that. I know that the beginning of my first fall semester here, public safety actually came into our classroom and explained what they do. And it wasn't just, yeah, we give parking tickets, yeah, we come crash parties if we hear about it. It was, we will walk you home, we will make you feel safe. And I felt safe, and I never once had the impression about them that they were just gonna give me tickets and all the negative things. So I think it's really important that if we get public safety out there, get them to visit organizations, get them to visit meetings, and share a little bit about what they do on the positive aspect, that students will see that side of things.
And I think in general, just help make the students clear how safe our campus actually is. Green Bay's UW campus is the second most well-lit place in Green Bay apart from the airport. So we have a lot of lights. Get them to understand the purpose of those blue phone, yellow box phones they see all around and what they're for, and that they will be connected right to public safety officers if needed. This can be done numerous ways. The reps doing it, programs, public safety to these general meetings, or as simple as posters in the residence halls and apartments or public places. Especially during winter when all of our cars start needing to be jumped or like maybe your tire goes flat and I need help. Yeah.
1 minute rebuttal.
I couldn't agree more with showing the students that public safety is there to help them. It's to keep them safe and to make sure that they feel safe. I also think that more of our job would be to show them that there's other students there to help them, make them feel at ease. There's other opportunities, and kind of just bring together the student body so that public safety has their place, but maybe if there's a resident who's nervous or doesn't want to be seen walking with a public safety officer, they have a safe group of people that they can rely on, fall back on to maybe walk them at night when they're feeling scared, or just make them feel more at ease and make this environment a little friendlier.
Briefly, Judy and I actually spoke earlier about having a potentially student-run or public safety endorsed group of students who would be on call maybe in the same way as the RAs are every night, where there's a book of phone numbers and you have to
call
person.
time.
Oh, sorry.
1 minute rebuttal.
Just with the getting the security ideas known, that's a big part of the visibility committee, as well as the safety and security committee that Nicole and I would like to have on our RHA board next year. I know Tony started saying this, so I'll kind of help him finish. With the student-led walk, I know my freshman year, the VP of RHA tried to get that started. Didn't happen. This year we were looking at getting it, still not happening. So definitely don't want that idea to fall in the gutter. Want to start, keep pursuing it. Because I do agree that, public safety, they're very nice people, but they are in the end wearing their uniform, and it might look kind of scary and embarrassing to some other people if you're walking around campus with that. Although they are very pleasant people.
All right, and our next question is to you, and you have 3 minutes. What ideas to have? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading the wrong question. As a body of the Student Government Association, how do you feel the relationship between the organizations can be improved?
Okay, I will take this one. The relationship is something that always seems to be on the rocks. And I don't know if it was in years past, so I can't say that, but I know it's something I definitely would love to have worked together with. If two organizations could work together and collaborate, there's so much that we could get done. If we have two organizations behind each other with a certain topic or a certain item that really needs to be expressed, I think it would make a bigger impact than if it was just RHA or just SGA. A working relationship is definitely a must with any organization that we have, not just SGA. So I think that's really important. We would definitely want to have a liaison that could work with our SGA or with SGA and figure out what's going on for them, what we can help them with, what they can help us with. Like I said, it all just comes back to collaborating and working together.
The major thing is we just want these groups, because they both cover so many different areas, like we do have that little emphasis in housing, we want them to be equal and work together. That's the biggest thing, is it needs to be cooperative and collaborative, not one over the other, one versus another, this constant battle that seems to be going on. We have two respectable organizations on campus that should be working together, getting along, and that's how we would like to see it.
I agree, collaboration is definitely something that needs to happen. In years past, I haven't been nearly as antiquated, I believe that's the word, with SGA as I am now. However, I have been attending some of the meetings talking about how RHA and SGA could complement each other. And that goes back to kind of what I said at the very beginning. SGA is kind of an umbrella group. They cover all of campus. That's the 2,000 students who live here, but it's also the 6,000 total that attend this campus, this university. So I'm not saying that they should necessarily exercise power over everybody, but they're more wide-reaching than RHA is. RHA, I believe, its focus should primarily be on residence hall and any policies and the residents who are here with us 24/7. With the programming ideas I have, and again, what I said earlier, the way that I see them complementing each other would be SGA would tell RHA what's happening, what's going on our campus, in our community, anything like that. And then RHA would then find a chair or a representative or an exec member who covers that same basis. I've looked through both of the bylaws, everything for SGA and RHA, and there is a lot of overlap in their committees and in their in what they try to do. There's safety, security. Which is something we just talked about. There's a lot of things that can easily integrate together, and I feel like they should be complementing each other as opposed to trying to work against each other, as it seems occasionally happens. The way I foresee it would be RHA, like I said, finds the reps, finds their interests, and then sends them to SGA, who then can distribute them around to the different organizations. Had a little bit more to say on this. While at the same time keeping those students here on campus within RHA. It's kind of a complex relationship, I understand, but like I said, everybody has the interests. SGA knows where to send them, RHA knows how to find them. The two of them working together, we could potentially be unstoppable, I think.
Add on. I think that they both have access to different leaders and different just tools. And for any job, it's kind of that interdisciplinary thought where you're going to need to go through different leaders and people with different experiences to solve that problem. So I agree with them completely where it is team effort, and I agree with Tony where it's good.
1 minute, you're welcome.
I will agree with the guys. I believe that a working relationship is a must. This will also connect with visibility of both organizations. If we can work together, if we can work on certain items together, then both of our names will get out there, and we can both gain that visibility that is desperately needed throughout all of campus and residence life. I think it's just a huge thing that we do have that positive relationship that we can, I mean, it's two organizations working together to get something done. It's gonna have way more oomph than one organization, so.
I concur.
1 minute, you're welcome.
Just want to quickly bring up a particular example. There's one of the big things that, if you haven't heard, has been going on between SGA and RHA is the idea of how much influence should SGA have on RHA. And what I wanted to quickly say was about the policymaking aspect of that. I'm not sure if that's another topic we're going to get to in a little bit, but the idea that RHA does represent the people of housing. I believe RHA should maybe not necessarily have exclusive control over that, but should have a large amount of control over it, with SGA's input as to how it's going to affect the campus as a whole. At the same time, I appreciate RHA wanting to be involved in policy. I just don't see it as needing to go and seek out and hunt down policy to effect.
Okay, and now Stephanie has selected some audience questions that we will now move into.
It'll be the same format, you'll still get 3 minutes to answer and 1 minute to rebuttal.
All right, and the next one goes to you. Do you think you'll be able to look at the big picture when handling issues via RHA? That is, will you care about the entire university? How?
Yeah, okay. Yes, definitely. I think that being in a leadership position, such as the vice president presidency of an organization, it's extremely important to be open-minded and to see things at all aspects. You have to look at it if it's going to affect other organizations, if it's going to affect students in a negative way. It's probably not good for it then, if it's going to be a negative outcome. You just have to be able to think open-mindedly. You have to be able to look at all sides of it, any connections that could potentially come from it.
Yeah, it's important as an executive board member on these organizations to remember that you were elected to represent that organization. Yes, your personal experience will help you, but ultimately it's about what everybody wants. And I think that's something that's important that gets forgotten a lot. And can you restate that second part to that question, please?
Will you care about the entire university? How?
Of course we care about the entire university, we live here. But I think it's just another thing important to remember is we are the Resident Hall and Apartment Association. Our main focus is the students that live here on campus, the students that pay so much every single semester to live on campus. So of course we'll care about the entire university, but our main focus should be on those housing individuals, because that's who we, as president of RHA, represent.
And I think that, again, connects with the SGA relationship. If there is something that comes up to us that is a campus-wide issue, that's when we go to them with that and gain their help and knowledge from it.
All right, and 3 minutes to you, the same question.
One of the things I'd like to think that I do well is listen. I can hear where people are coming from, what people are saying, compile it together, and throw it out, into hopefully what is the best decision. Sometimes that best decision is to take it slow. Sometimes that best decision is to fire on all cylinders to get something done. But we do need to take into account the entire campus. The second half of that, would we care for the campus? Of course we would care for the entire campus. We're directly representing a third of it. That third can exert a lot of influence on the things that happen here. Like I said, they're here 24/7. They have to stay here at night and live with whatever else is going on around campus. More so than the 4,000 who don't stay here all the time. So I very much do want RHA to have an influence everywhere it can. To really look into doing that.
I like to think that I touched on this problem with my previous answer, and that sometimes interdisciplinary challenges require interdisciplinary thinking. You need people from different backgrounds to solve more complex problems. With that, though, you're also looking at when there is a problem, sometimes you're not always the person to solve it. Sometimes you know the person to solve it. Sometimes you have a task force. That's knowing when to back off and when to use your power of maybe just knowledge, or maybe knowing where this should be addressed, knowing what challenges to take on, and knowing what challenges to maybe just divert to someone who could better solve it. Being helpful in that aspect. Thank you.
And 1 minute rebuttal.
I agree. I think what the boys said were very true to what our similar beliefs are.
When it comes to campus-wide, it is important for us to be involved, but I think the first thing that should come up is the residential life. If it's something that affects residents' life, then it's definitely, that's campus-wide, then it's definitely something to look closer at. But again, I think that's where the relationship with SGA and RHA would come in hand.
When it comes to interacting and creating policy, anything that affects the entire campus, RHA would ideally have the connections to bring in as many different perspectives as possible. And I would like to think that with as many minds as we can get in one room talking about the same topic, we could work out as many different angles as hopefully exist on that one topic. If we have somebody from the AIC, we have somebody from a diversity council, we have somebody from whatever organization might be out there on campus, I would hope that RHA would have those connections to bring those people in so that when decisions are being made, we're hearing from everybody we possibly can, anybody who might have a vested interest in it, and then proceed forward with whatever the best decision is.
Just everyone has a voice. I couldn't agree more.
All right, next question goes to you for 3 minutes. How do you plan to quickly adopt your personal platforms to accommodate residents' wants and needs next year?
I said it before, that idea of firing on all cylinders. I know that RHA at the beginning of the year needs to expose itself, needs to be very rapid fire in its programs. They're planning stuff in the summer for things that happen, freshman move-in day, the first weekend, the first week, everything like that is being planned ahead of time. And I'd say we shouldn't stop at that first week, we shouldn't stop at that first month, not even the first semester. We keep going all the way through. As far as the first few weeks, getting our name out there, getting to the CCs, getting to CAB, getting even into the individual buildings. We have connections, Jimmy and I, and the other pair as well, but we have connections as RAs where we know the RAs. We can talk to them and say, hey, we need help. We want reps for this. Do you know anybody who's interested in doing this? Because it's something that's going to be coming up. Or maybe we can say we're looking for ideas. We haven't filled that third chair spot yet. We don't know what we wanted to do. What are your residents interested in? And like I said, going out to the CAB, the CCs directly, talking with the RAs, figuring out what their residents want. It's that open communication. I want to have that as much as possible, very much face-to-face, so that I can see who I'm talking to, I can hear from them what they're doing, and then implement that into RHAA. Say, they want this, let's do this.
I think that a personal platform is in no way in any conflict to any of the ideals or bylaws that already exist in RHA. So I think that they're in such agreement is actually going to help this to be a very smooth transition. I think, as Tony said, just having a great attitude about this, being enthusiastic, is going to help any challenges seem that much smaller, and any rewards or when those goals are met just feel that much better. Thank you.
3 minutes.
Okay. I just want to reiterate our campaign platform for those members in attendance and watching who do not know. Nicole and I want students to feel safe living on campus in all aspects, promote housing community communication between students living on campus and RHAA to find what student concerns and ideas are. Examples include the suggestion boxes we mentioned, monthly housing community meetings, and that outreach. And find ways to interest other students living on campus into developing leaders and build RHA as a whole. And I think Nicole and I did a really good job of stressing our campaign platform through all aspects of this debate with our visibility committee, our programming ideas and expansion ideas for those programmings, reaching out to the community councils and CAB to try to make them feel more important and have a bigger influence on campus with the large programs such as the Fall Formal Casino Night and Blue Blue Loud. Anything like that?
This, our third point is the building new leaders and building RHA as a whole. This is where our ideas of, communicating with leaders that we have now into finding somebody who might be interested or somebody they think would be good for it. And then we can talk to them on a personal level, not just an email that might get put into their trash box. Something that we can actually come and talk to them about, see if they're interested, maybe invite them to a meeting so they can see what it's about, and gain those extra leaders.
And what would you vote?
I'd be more than willing to implement. If I received the position under them, I would be more than happy to implement the same ideas of maybe anonymous drop boxes, those monthly meetings, things where people who aren't necessarily reps or directly involved can still come and join in and give their input. And in places more than just the RHA or the SGA suites, put them around campus, put them in the res halls, give those resources to resident assistants so that they can leave something outside their door for their residents to say, I want to see this. Jimmy said you might have something?
I'm good, thank you.
Oh, okay.
All right, and then 1 minute vote.
I don't think I have anything. I think it's covered. I do. Okay.
Yeah, I think we can just reiterate the points that we've made during the debate. We've covered our campaign platform very well. We were very excited about the growing expansion idea, especially with my experience as rep development. I would love the idea of getting closer with those reps again and finding them and pulling them and making them come join RHA and parliamentary procedure as much as I do.
We have one more question we're going to ask, and then we'll be out of time.
All right, last question, and it goes to Samantha first. You have 3 minutes. Last year, RHA had issues with running efficient meetings due to the lack of parliamentary procedure knowledge. What is your current understanding of Parley Pro?
I love Parley Pro. Parliamentary procedure, it's my thing. I love it. I have Robert's rules on my Nook. I can make motions, call the question, do whatever you want. So I love implementing that structure. I have the PowerPoints that make it easily accessible to those reps that we can go over with them. I don't know if I should mention this or not, but I'm running for a parliamentarian of our larger organization, Glicker. And all the parliamentarian does is write legislation and work with Parley Pro. So I think it would be great. I will be implementing that structure, but make sure that I'm friendly and open to those reps who have yet to learn Parley Pro and get them as excited about it as you obviously I am.
And with myself, this was my first year as an exec board member and last year as a rep, and I have honestly learned a lot when it comes to parliamentary procedure. I still have quite a bit to learn, but Sammy's been a really great teacher, and you can tell she gets really excited. Even in our general meetings, when somebody uses it without needing to be told, she's right on top of going, good job, and she gets really excited about it. And she's been a really good teacher, and like I said, I've learned a lot. I still have more to learn, but I look forward to learning it because it's actually quite fun.
3 minutes, same question.
My experience in parliamentary procedure stems out of the time I did spend in RHA and seeing it used even now when I go back. The way I would encourage it is acknowledge that it's a learning process. It's, quick aside, I'm not good at science or math. I'll be completely honest. So usually these sequential things, they're not always something that works for me, works in my head right away. I understand that people struggle with ideas like that. That being said, one way to teach it is to sit down in a friendly manner and say, okay, what don't you understand? And I would be more than happy to sit down and do that with a rep who might be struggling with it, or even if it's an exec member, if it's whoever it might be who's not quite understanding what's going on, I would be more than happy to personally take my time out and teach them that. That being said, love to get my face out to anybody who needs help in RHA or around campus. I would hope to keep a very open door policy so that even if it goes beyond Parley Pro, they can come up to me and say, I want to know about this, I need to know about this. Getting a little off topic now. But like I said, encourage its use. First off, it's something we need, it's in the bylaws, it's something that will have to be used. Acknowledging that, then meeting face-to-face if necessary, making handouts, doing whatever. There's resources that are available both to myself, because admittedly I'll probably have to read it once or twice or 5 times before I'm perfectly comfortable with it too. Acknowledging that, going back and saying, I need to recheck this. And then helping the reps do that as well, and encouraging them to do that, or handing them a worksheet that just says, or not a worksheet, but a handout that says, this is the order of things happening. If you get lost, take a look at the sheet.
I don't know if I necessarily see that as a weakness or a strength in Tony's understanding of Parliament Pro. Any weaknesses or challenges he may have, that's going to be one that a lot of new reps are going to face, and he's going to be all too acquainted with that, be able to help them more. And your teaching major, I think you can say something to the scale of 90% of what you teach others, you retain. So by going through that with them, I think we'll just strengthen ourselves. And I think it makes them all more relatable to anyone who's maybe uneasy with parliamentary procedure that would normally scare away from RHA. I don't want that to be something that keeps them from coming.
Okay, and 1 minute vote.
Parley Pro is a very easy and structured way to run the meetings, make sure they run smoothly, make sure that everybody's voices are heard, that no one can be rude. There is an understanding that Parley Pro can be used as a weapon, but it's something I am definitely not a fan of, and I would hope that my reps would not be a fan of either, because it's just mean. So we don't need to do that. We use Parley Pro in a fun way. And the easiest way to learn Parley Pro is that process of going to every meeting and slowly getting used, oh hey, maybe I should make a motion right now, yes. So just positive reinforcement, extreme encouragement. If the reps are still having problems, I am more than willing to help the NCCWC next year, since they will be that parliamentarian, do the trail mix game where I move to add raisins. Is there a second to add the raisins? There's an objection, why don't you want to add the raisins? Speak on your objection, I don't like raisins. So, you know, it's just lots of ways to get Parley Pro out there, well known and lovable.
1 minute vote.
Real quick, she's right, Parley Pro is a very efficient thing. There's a reason we use it. It's a staged process. We always know what's supposed to come next. I've been out of actual legislation, admittedly, for a few years. I haven't had a placard to throw up and try and second and whatever for quite a while now that I think about it. So maybe it's just my time away that's made me a little bit rusty. But as Jimmy said, you know, we teach something, we learn it ourselves. And that's something that I think we can, I personally can use. Jimmy, I don't know how familiar he is with it, hopefully more so than I am, or maybe he's not as good as it is as I am. But something we can go back over is something that we need to know. And I'm aware that it's something that I need to know. And when I need to do something, I get it done. So, yeah.
Well said. Can't help it.
All right, and then we're going to move into the 5-minute closing statements. You need to go first.
So I prepared myself already. By sticking to these beliefs that Nicole and I have mentioned numerous times throughout our debate and ideals that we've discussed, we believe that we can make living on campus, the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay, every student's home sweet home. As a team, we have put a lot of thought into what makes our campus our home. This is why we have chosen our committees for next year and their focus areas, because we see them as needing help. This is also why we are going to expand program outreach to our smaller residence-life organizations. We want students to feel safe and comfortable during their career at the University of Wisconsin-Green Bay. RHAA is not just a policy-based and not just a programming-based organization. Both areas need to be equal and work collaboratively in order to be successful, and that is what we are going to do and strive for as President and Vice President of the Resident Hall and Apartment Association. Thank you.
You have 5 minutes.
And as potential leaders of RHAA, we do believe that RHAA is something that should be open to everybody. And that's what we want to make it. We want it to be something that is not just seen by people, but done by the residents as well. Everybody comes to this campus looking to do something else. Some people, like I said, some people want to get into leadership roles right away. And maybe for them it's because they want to do something on campus. Maybe it's because they want to bolster their resume. Maybe they're just bored on a Wednesday night and they want to do something. I don't know. Maybe their RA asked them to do it. Everybody comes in thinking something else. With RHA, we want to expand its perspective, its visibility, to the point where anybody who might have an interest in it is willing to come and see us. We plan on doing this through programming and encouraging a diverse type of programming instead of just social. Of course we do social, but that gets our face out there. But things on very particular topics as well, topics that students will be able to see, they'll hear about, they'll hopefully have that vested interest in, they'll come to us, they'll talk to us about it. We can say, please join this chair with us, or run for this chair position if it's not filled yet, or stick around as a rep for your building, stick around with RHAA, even if your building already has a rep. We want to bring in all those people we possibly can, because everybody's looking to do something here on this campus. I think RHAA is a great place for those students to find out what they want to do and then branch out into bigger and better things.
I think a big theme in this debate has been people finding their voice and listening that everyone has a voice, communication through voice to SGA and other organizations, and then finally just making sure that when every voice is heard, sometimes it's the people who are in the back or not willing to speak that really need to be heard the most. So I couldn't agree more, Tony, and I'm very glad that you all came here. Thank you.
All right, I'd like to thank everyone who showed up and contributed questions. And I'd like to thank our candidates who came to share their views with us, to inform us so we can vote. And I'd like to remind everyone who lives on campus to vote in the election for RHA President and Vice President.